My whole thing is that we use the Bible too often to tell women to not sleep around with men. But the Bible tells us all to save ourselves and to control our bodies in some kind of way. We only use the Bible to do that to women, but we never use it to do that to men because they have plenty of verses that just tell people. They don't tell, the Bible doesn't tell women. The Bible tells us all. In some kind of way, society has said that it's okay for men to sleep with these imaginary women that they're supposed to be sleeping with before they get with their pure wives. I don't, we don't know.
You know why that is, right?
I do not know why that is, because
Well, let me ask you a
if we're
question.
following the Bible, we got to follow the Bible, right?
Right. Well, what if you run into a plethora of men who don't follow the Bible? Are you going to use the Bible against them?
I'm not, but I'm just calling out the
Okay, that's
hypocrisy.
one thing. What if you run into man? What if you run into a man who done had 100 partners? Let's take you out of it because every time we use somebody on the panel, oh no,
Oh no, what,
if,
listen,
in
don't
general,
tell me. I don't care.
would a woman still value a man to be her husband that had 100 partners?
Ew.
In general,
Don't
you could
listen.
say ill. Why we gotta say
I
Say
ill?
that again.
Sorry,
Yeah,
and that's
who
what we
I
said
got.
don't
ill?
think that it should be discussed. That's
Can
not
we
my
just say
business.
in general, would they still value him to be a
Probably
husband?
not.
O-
That's not
Okay,
true. A woman will
Oh,
still value.
I mean, I wouldn't. Don't tell me, but if you do,
let me
I don't
change
want
it.
you.
Let me switch it. Let me take a that's extreme. Would a woman still value a man who had really experience, which deems him really good in bed? Really, he's giving that D like tuh, supreme D. Would she still value him as a man she would marry?
Not if
His
he's had a
Yes.
whole
experiences
lot of
allow him
partners.
to graduate to a level of where he got supreme D.
Wait,
Not if he's
Pause.
had a lot of partners. No. If
Yeah.
you tell me
I listen. I didn't say a lot of
what,
partners. We took that off the table.
oh, okay.
We just said his level of experiences allow him to get supreme D. Would a woman value that as and still marry him?
hell
Sure,
yeah.
why not?
Okay, let's flip it. Would a man value a woman who had so much experience, she got that supreme VJJ?
Oh,
Would he still value her as a wife?
Yep.
Well, I think you need to go look. I don't know where the
Wait,
hell you been living
you
Because
at.
trolling, right, Ty?
where are
You
we
trolling,
getting,
right? Ty, you
It's
because
trolling,
so
here's
right?
the
many
thing.
men out here
Hold
marrying
on.
women
Wait a minute. Here's the thing.
openly say that they're
I was
husbands.
once, I
Hold
was
up.
once that inexperienced
Oh,
girl,
whoa,
and
oh,
I
oh.
got made fun of by dudes.
yeah,
Like,
same.
you don't do it right. You don't do it like such and such. I know. I don't know what I'm doing. And you want a virgin, but you want a freak simultaneously. I don't
Yeah,
understand where y'all are getting
That
this
was that. That's
All
from.
just
right.
one case where he
Double
was telling you
standard.
that you look
It's a double
weird with your
standard.
little hip thrust or whatever you
It's
was doing.
You know
weird.
what?
That's not.
Could I?
That's not knocking you for being a wife.
so you would
Going back
feel
into
so if you're
cheating,
yeah.
men will cheat on their wives if
With a
they're
hoe.
not meeting
Thank
their
you,
freaky needs. Thank
thank
you.
you,
Thank
With a hoe
you.
because
thank
they
you.
want you to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets with no
No,
experience.
Do,
that's
do
not
y'all want? Do
true.
y'all want some
They
help with
want
that?
you
Do
to
you want
be
me
freaky in
to
the
explain
sheets,
it?
but you
Not
don't want
really.
to do the things he wants you to
Sorry.
do, so he'll go
Very
and get it
true.
somewhere else. That's the correct narrative.
Or
It's
you
not
do it,
weird
A
so
though.
it's
man is
not
not
good
going
at
to go get a woman to give him guac 3,000 when he got a woman that's giving him guac
So
But wait a
he
3,000.
just
minute.
wants
Hold
It
on.
but
marriage.
he
Hold
don't
don't
on.
make
know
Hold
how
sense.
to
on.
do guac
Because
3000.
you
He know
You
changed
how
the
to
just
do
made my
guac
subject.
3.
point. The only
Wait a
reason why
minute.
he's teetering out is
I'm
because
trying
the
to figure
woman.
out how you changed the subject.
What subject?
I'm bringing up. Hold on. We're not
On
even
the same page.
talking about what I brought up. You use the Bible. You want women to follow this Bible. Women submit to your husbands. All of these things. But you do not want to follow the part of the Bible that says, hold on, put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. You don't flee from sexual immorality. All of the sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. It does not say women. You are not addressing the fact that the Bible tells us this all.
You
Men
never
and
heard
women.
us
There is
address
no
men.
gender attached to this.
You never
So we're
heard?
not talking about that.
Have you watched this network before, other than the shows you're on?
So Bruiser is talking
What does
about,
it
yes,
mean?
him and Bruiser and Sweeney do say it. The other guys do not agree with it, but Bruiser is one person who does stick with, he does not agree with that type of behavior. And I
Even
think
if I know they don't believe in it, I still give my opinion. Man is to carry himself sexually
But
decent.
that's you
But
opposed to millions
I
of other
cannot.
men.
One thing about men, if you look at hierarchy in divine order, God is the one who corrects a man, and man corrects his woman. So a man is going to be corrected regardless of what a woman do. But the women are still trying to step out of their lane and correct men.
But hold
The
on.
reason why, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. So, but here's the other thing. How many men are really submitting to God? Because a lot of men are not submitting to God, they're submitting to their ego. They
How do you know that?
want to exactly, but that's the thing. You want us to submit to our husbands as they submit to God, but unfortunately, these husbands are submitting to their own egos, and they are being harmful in their relationships and their marriages. And these women are just following them blindly. But then when you get a woman like me, and I'm like, you're not worthy to be followed. You are not
The
worthy to be
only way
submitted
we
to
can
in the first
substantiate
place.
what you're saying is if we would look at where it's measured, which I don't think nobody's measuring whether a man is submitting to God or his ego. We would have to take a case, and if we can use your
have a
case, you
question,
were
Darwin.
married to a devout Christian religious man. Did he submit to God or his ego?
I do have a
We
question,
saw a
Darwin.
case where
I
he
have a
was
question.
devout in everything he did, and you wasn't even trying to align with that.
If he
So
was a devout Christian, oh, sorry.
He was a Christian.
I do have a question, Darwin. So let's say, for the sake of argument, I grant your argument that men, God is supposed to deal with men, men is supposed to deal with their wives, right? If women are watching men outright disobey God, then what reason would they have to obey men?
Whoa.
So, can you give me an example of outright disobey God? Because that's very
If,
bland.
for example, when she listed all those things and you responded by saying, "Well, God is going to deal with us. We supposed to deal with you." All the things that Bo listed that men do that's immoral and all of that. You told them that God would deal with us.
Okay,
Well,
so
if
and
you
that's why I
wait.
responded.
So
We would
if
have to
you
measure that
deliberately,
according.
so if you're deliberately, you don't have to measure it. We can see it. We see men every day deliberately disobey God. So if we can say, so if men are deliberately disobeying God, then what reason would the women have to obey us?
Okay, what is one of the examples, Boheem, that you gave that men literally deliberately disobey God? Because in order to disobey, you actually have to be following God, right? Are you correct with that? Let me flip it for you. In order to break a classroom rule, you would have to be in the classroom, subscribe to the teacher and attendance. Correct? Can we understand it from that point? If you're not even in the class, if you don't even go to the school, the
Yes,
rules
you
don't
made
apply
sense
to
the
you, right?
first time.
That's what I'm saying. So we would have to measure this according to the man who actually subscribes. We live in an international mecca of the world, America, where people don't just threw their Bibles in the trash. They don't even care. So we do have a backup for the man who deviate from God's will, and that's called Uncle Sam. That's called hot man. Gonna put your ass in check. In all aspects of violations, we have something that's gonna check the man. It's not the same way across the board for women, which is why men are compelled to kind of step in there and fill those gaps, especially in the family.
Whoa.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Not the
Hold
same.
on.
Shot.
That is
Aren't
the
there
most.
women prison?
Hold
Just
on.
like that in prison?
That
Don't
is the
women get
most
arrested?
ass backwards logic.
Wait a minute.
That logic is so
Okay,
ass
well,
backwards.
let's go
What are
into
you
it.
saying?
Let's go into it.
All right, if I can make this make sense, you said basically we all threw our Bibles in the trash, right? So men are disobeying God. It said, screw the Bible, we gonna do what we want to do. Then you said now men are just gonna police men. While
No,
the men are
that's not what I was.
well, no, because you said Uncle Sam. That's man law. So you basically said men are just gonna police men.
Men are policing men and women.
Essentially, what I'm saying is, even if man decided that he want to deviate from God's will and break the law or break the rules, there's consequences for that. I mean, we don't have to agree with that. I believe that. I see it happening to my brother right now for going around smacking cheeks that he ain't had no business smacking.
Come on, dog.
Okay.
I think y'all just like so Darwin.
If it's difficult to understand, let somebody else speak on it. But
Darwin,
but it's consequences for man deviation.
Does the neck
Not
get
really.
instructions from the head or vice versa?
Say what?
Does the neck get instructions on what to do from the head, or does the head give instructions on what to do to the neck?
Does the head give instructions?
Do your fingers control your brain, or does your brain control the
Your
body?
brain control your fingers.
Okay. Did God say, according to the Christian philosophy, that men are supposed to be the head and the woman like the neck?
Yep.
Did he also say that there's a hierarchy that goes man, woman, child, animals?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
them conflating and trying to make this we're all equal and nobody should be submitting to the other, and we both should be submitting to each is a disingenuous argument, because just the way they say we ignored that small portion, they gave details on what the submission looked like and how it was different. And it also said, let me just quote this so I don't say it in the wrong way. I was sitting here reading this stuff.
You guys don't believe in God to have a conversation.
How you, hey Marcus, how you say all of that and ignore my question?
Hold on, he didn't get to it yet. Let him finish up.
This still ignores my question.
Let a woman learn quietly with all submissiveness. I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. For Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived and became a transgressor. Yet she will be saved through childbearing if they continue with faith and love and holiness with self-control. That sounds like a specific prescription to somebody that was not a male. We have a lot of stuff we're supposed to do, but to pretend like it's tit for tat and equal is feminist rhetoric, and
No. To pretend, Marcus, to pretend like these men are godly men is the problem. We're supposed to be taking instruction from most people that aren't even godly. That's all I'm saying.
The whole point.
See, that's where your problem is, Lacey.
Is that
Somebody
was
taught
from
you.
Old Testament. Those
Somebody taught you
teachings and
incorrectly.
everything changed once Jesus came. And New Testament came, women were able to speak. Think of Esther in the Bible. Like, we can't take, like Ann was saying, right? That's looking at text black and white. And during those times, during Old Testament times, that's how things were. Women could not speak up. You were supposed to stay quiet. Even if a man was doing wrong, it wasn't your place to put him in correction, right? It was another godly man's place to do so. As the New Testament came, as Jesus came, he opened that up. And now women were able to prophesy. Women were able to tell people what God or what they were supposed to do and to follow certain ways. So
where scripture says that women had authority over man in the New Testament?
It
there
didn't
ain't
say
no
women
scripture.
had authority over
don't
men,
think
but it
that's
didn't
what
say
she's
women also
saying.
had to stay silent.
You can
when
say
a man
whatever you
did
want,
something
but we're
wrong.
talking about we're talking about correcting somebody. In order to correct somebody, you have to be able to have some type of authority or some type of. You have to be able to enforce some type of consequence.
But the issue was
That's not even
And it didn't say you have to stay
No,
silent.
Wait. Y'all, so all of that still ignored the very real question, the very question that I asked. If all these men are not godly, they're not following God, then what reason would women have to follow man?
Exactly. May I piggyback off of that?
I was going to answer that because Laisha had mentioned that, and I told her she was being taught right. You still, if you decide to be with a man, we're talking about if you decide. If you're not deciding to be with him or being up under his covering, it don't even apply. It's irrelevant to even argue. But if you're deciding to be under a man's covering, regardless if he follow God or not, it is the command to submit to your husband. It is not contingent upon him if he reads 7 days or he kneel and pray, if he take anointed. No, your place is to submit to your husband regardless. And it's his place, regardless if you out of order, whatever, is to be able to be responsible for you and lead and protect you, regardless if you out of order.
So my follow-up question is, if you get to choose hell, then why can't she?
Hold on. So how are you choosing hell?
So if you get to disobey God and and not listen to God and say, well, I choose hell, then why can't she choose hell? Why can't she say, well, then I choose not to obey?
Who said she couldn't? Who said people can't? Who said people can't do wrong in return for wrong?
The reason why I'm asking this question, bro, is because we're talking to modern women. They see men for who they are, and we're telling them, "Hey, look, you need to stay and do what you're supposed to do, even though men are not doing what they're supposed to do." But
let's use an example. Let's use promiscuity. Let's say for on the record, men are being out here fornicating. And then men to turn around and say, "Oh, woman, you ain't supposed to be out here fornicating." That's a good way to start it, right? It's a good perfect example. The reason why men is able to do that is because men control access to what?
Nothing.
Relationships and marriage.
Thank you. The supreme double standard. That's what we call it.
This is stupid.
Y'all can just give your body to anybody. Just
we don't give our body.
Anybody you want, and then you gonna come and propose to me?
That's crazy.
And guess what? Either you gonna say yes or the next girl will.
No, they don't. Okay, I think everybody's not getting it.